It's that time again. Grab a friend, sit down, unwind a bit. Tack and J, keeping it real. Can't you see the appeal? They got the jokes, the smoke, and the current events. You know the deal. Soak up that lemon water. Tell all your friends. Encouragement for your flourishment is where we begin. Have you heard of it? It's sustenance. Where have you been? Free your mind. It's the baddest podcast in the land. If you don't understand, let's run it again. It's that time again. Grab a friend, sit down, unwind a bit. Tack and J, keeping it real. Can't you see the appeal? They got the jokes, the smoke, and the current events. You know the deal. Soak up that lemon water. Tell all your friends.
Welcome back to another episode of the Lemon Water Chronicles podcast, man. It's your boy Tack.
This is J-A-Y.
Yo, and it's just us tonight, man. We just here kicking it. It's been a minute. This is our second show back in 2021. Last week we had the Detox Man on the show. Detox Man came through, and we're gonna go live on IG real quick. We're gonna let people get a glimpse of what we're talking about tonight. Don't have any major topics up front other than like what's going on. Besides, the March Maddness is kicking off, and it's been a year since they've had March Maddness due to coronavirus. But we had Detox Man on last night. Shout out to Sit Down with Brinks for joining us on the live for a few minutes. She's on there. She said, "Okay, haircut."
Oh yeah. Had to get rid of it.
My guy. So we on here. But yeah, man. So this is our first. That's what I was gonna say. This is our first show back. Since 2020, this is our first show back together as just two people in 2021. Last week we had Detox Man on. It was lit. Most of you have caught most of the show because we went live for y'all it was supposed to be a little snippet, but it ended up being like 54 minutes. So, you pretty much caught most of the thing, but we still implore and ask you guys to go check it out. Now, also the show with Barry Williams, the actor, we had a show with him before the Detox Man. That one is up on YouTube now. The link is in our bio. Please go check that out. You don't want to miss it. It's a nice lengthy show, but we got a lot of juicy stuff throughout it. It's all vibes, and dude was dropping knowledge the whole time. So if you're interested in the film industry, or if you're interested in anything relative to entertainment, hardworking stuff, like a hardworking brother, that's what you want to see. That's what you want to check out. That's what you want to listen to. Jay, what you got for him, man? I've been talking my ass off.
Oh man, no, you've been spitting, man. No, it's great to be back. Obviously, like you said, we had Detox Man on last week, and if you did tune in live, you got to see a sneak peek of that episode because as we're recording, that episode technically has not been released yet. So
that's right.
Yeah, so you actually kind of got like a sneak peek into that episode, and like if you want to, continue that hint. If whenever we go live and we're recording, that's your way of kind of like getting a sneak peek of the show and in a way being a part of the show because we're addressing the questions that you may or may not ask, and just that opportunity, for us to shout you out or whatnot. And so again, it's good to be back, bro. It's the first solo show of us in 2021. If you haven't realized, we were gone for for a few months and whatnot, but life happens. We both had like major events going on. You just coming fresh off being married, and the holidays was rolling. I've moved since then, and yeah, it's been a journey, man. But it's awesome to be back. We weren't definitely gonna leave you guys hanging on a cliffhanger, right? So we had to come back for sure.
For sure. Yeah, the whole fresh being married thing, it's lit. I've been doing it. I feel like I've been doing it for a long time, but I'm in there.
Yeah, man.
So,
man.
Yeah, we and so I guess I could talk about the honeymoon. We never really talked about it on any of the shows, actually.
Do that shit.
In a nutshell, it was pretty lit, man. We went down to Miramar Beach, Florida. It was a lot of Trumpsters down there. Shit was hilarious. It was like kids in the street with the flag and shit. And like Brinka was like she was like, they were all like, yeah, go Trump or whatever. And we were like driving in the wheel. And then she had her finger like this, like she was about, like going up, going down, going up. And she was like, fuck y'all. And they were like, like they was losing their shit. And it was funny as hell, bro. Like that, it was nice though. We just like had a really good time and laid out on the beach and stuff. Like we went to a dollar store. So here's a beach hack for people who didn't know this or whatever. If you go to the dollar store, usually you can get like a bed set, like a bedroom set that comes with like sometimes pillows, a comforter, and some other shit, right? So basically what we got was I went in there and got like either a king or a queen size comforter for like a bedroom set or whatever. And we just bought that bitch and took it out and laid it out on the beach and sprawled out like just dead ass. So now that's like our beach bed. So we just wash it, make sure we can get all the shit out of it. And you know what I'm saying? That's what we did. And so we took the little speaker out there. We had for the wedding, we had gotten these little canister things that keep drinks cold. So we had wine and shit pulled up in there. And you know what I'm saying? We had a few other things too. So it's like it was lit. So it was real nice, man. It was a vibe. It was necessary. Because I don't know, man. It was just righteous. It was something that we needed to get done.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, it's always great to hit the reset button and go on, on a road trip or like a weekend trip with your significant other, in your case, your wife, your honeymoon. So that's always
it was lit.
It's always nice, man. It's always nice to get away from the bullshit that you're dealing with here in reality, to get away, even if it's just temporary, whether it's for a few days or a week or whatnot. It's still essential for us to get away, and there's nothing like a vacation, bro. Especially if there's a beach involved. So I'm glad y'all enjoyed yourself. I know that was it felt like that was a long time ago, man. It's just crazy how time is just moving,
Flying by. It's flying. Yeah. It's flying by, goddamn. It's flying by like a motherfucker.
Yeah, man. Them Trump supporters, though.
That shit was wild.
Them motherfuckers, man. You as soon as you say something negative about that motherfucker, boy, they be ready to fight. Clearly,
I mean, it's because he's really infiltrated the minds of the negative. That was his whole scheme. Like his whole scheme was doing that. Like he got in the minds of people that already hated a group of people. And he was just like, I'm gonna play this shit and I'm gonna make this shit work. And he did it. Like he worked that shit. And so righteously, we gotta give it to him on that, because he basically showed people how to do it for themselves in other ways. Like you might not become the president, but you definitely could get the job at McDonald's or whatever the fuck you want to do. If you want to have multiple women or multiple men. Now I suggest if you're gonna do that, just be real about it. And then I gotta give it to him because he lied about a lot of shit, but he was pretty honest with most of the shit that he came with. Like he was honest in his lie. He was like, y'all don't like black people. And they were like, yeah. Y'all don't like Asian people. Yeah. It was just like, I was like, okay. Like he real smart. And so somebody actually said, they asked me, what they said, what do you feel like Donald Trump helped or hurt? How did he help or hurt people? And I was like, low key for black people, he kind of like was one of the best things that happened to us, because it actually brought us together more.
Yep.
Because we're looking for each other more first now, instead of it being like the other way around. Like now we're actually looking for each other. Okay, what's up? We got people on here. Varner boy, what's up? Eddie Live, what's up? Every last number 4, what's up? Crackers.
What up?
What happening?
What's
if I got
happening?
any questions or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, yeah, we vibing.
We live in it be.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, man. he a businessman at the end of the day. I mean, as far as like, you know, like people like as a businessman, he's actually, like you said, he's very competent. You know, he used probably analytics. He used probably a lot of that stuff that he would normally use, or you know, come with on business deals when that's how he got his bid, you know, for being president. You know, he used a lot of that, and like you said, he already went. He played that, you know, he played it like a fiddle. Already, you know, he was basically actively spilling hate to people that has it, but didn't have the, I guess you could say, lack of a better word, confidence or what's the word I'm looking for? Wasn't bold enough to speak out, you know, daily until he got there. So when he got in the office, it was, you know, it was okay. You know, they felt comfortable, like, oh, this is my guy in there. So he's saying, you know, shit like that. You know, I could say it too, and you know, and you have to agree with. You know, it's just.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that all Trump supporters are like that, because, you know, a lot of people are just true Republicans. I guess you could say, no matter who the candidate or who the person is, they just see that big giant R next to their name, they gonna vote for them.
Yeah.
Not knowing what that person is all about, but just because he got that big R here, or not him, I'm sorry, he or she has that big R next to their name, they're gonna get that vote just because it's the party they identify with,
or whatever you identify as. You know, just make sure we cover all the bases. But other than that, somebody said, I think he was competent in using white supremacy to his advantage, which is how the capitalistic society we live in grows off of it. That makes sense. Okay, yeah. My bad. It was all I can't read sometimes. But yeah. I mean, I agree with that. Like, he definitely worked the system to his advantage. But the thing is, he was already in a lot of places that people weren't for years. And so if you look back and say, if you play back some of the video of him from like the early 90s, he said what he was going to do then, now, and then he did it. And so it was like not a surprise. And so my thing is, with people nowadays, it's like, why are you surprised with a lot of the stuff that's going on now, besides just, you know, kind of like keeping it already 2 years ago when it happened to you the first time, and then just like move on, like, you know, move on from like let's get out of the, I would just, not even as black people, but just as people in general, but more so for black folks, let's kind of get out of this being a victim thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just kind of take over and become like more aware of what's going on and get ahead of it instead of being behind it all the time.
Right. I agree.
Learn when voting. I've heard it a million times, and then until I started putting my head in the book to look at it myself, I was like, "Oh, what's up, DJ Denopoly? Oh shit, D Weezy in the house.
What's up, D Weezy?
Man." But it's just like, you know, vote locally. You know, find out who your officials are. Find out who but best suits what it is that you think you would like, for what you want for your kids going forward, what you want for yourself currently. You know, what you want for people in general, you know, as a people, instead of it being about one particular class of folks and stuff like that. Like, you know, I don't understand why it's so hard to find something to do that works for everybody within reason. You know,
right.
It's always going to be somebody that's not happy about things, but, you know, it is what it is.
Right. Right. And, you know, like you said, and going back to like looking at like your local officials, like that's important. I mean, granted, the presidential race and all of that, that's always important on the grander scheme of things, but it's really, which we've said before, and we said again during the election, when the election time was happening and all of that, you and I have always voiced our opinions about, you know, taking the local voting in your area seriously, because that's what's going to affect you the most directly. The president, yeah, he will affect you indirectly, but, you know, that's on a grander scheme of things and on a different level. Your local officials are what you're going to be dealing with day to day, as far as like, what's going on in your area. So always, just keep that in mind when you're going to vote, because the president himself, he's just a placeholder. He's just basically a motherfucking placeholder. And to all our people that like sports, the president is the quarterback. He's gonna get the glory when the team wins, but he's also gonna get the blame when the team loses, even though it may or may not be his fault. Because the Senate and the House and all of that, they play a lot of the roles of what as far as laws and what goes into it. That nice stimmy check that everybody's been getting over the last week. The president signed it, but the House and the Senate is what approved. So, and the president is just the face of everything. So that's where that comes into play. So always I know election period is over with. We're not gonna delve too much into politics because that's neither one of our things. But again, we just can't emphasize enough just to vote locally, to pay attention to who you're voting for locally, and just kind of know that, and don't just kind of just go in there blindly and just start choosing people, because you might be choosing someone that may not be for you, and that's all. In the words of Forrest Gump, that's all I got to say about that.
I love it. Should we leave it where it's at with that, man?
Yeah.
So, I guess we can hit a little bit on sports. So, okay, yeah, we mentioned that the March Maddness is kicking up dust. It hasn't been in effect since the coronavirus came back out. Well, it's been out. I'm tripping. It came back out, y'all. It was a new movie. Since the coronavirus has been in effect. So, last year, everybody, the world, and mostly the United States was robbed of a 2020 men's and women's basketball tournament championship. And for people who don't know what March Maddness is, it is a 64 team tournament for both sides, right? Am I tripping, or is it just guys? I'm tripping.
No, you're right on the money. It's actually a 68 team now, because they have those play-in games now, which is what's happening today as we speak, or has happened. I haven't watched any of them, but yeah. It was formerly 64, but since they added those play-in games, it made it 68. So
yeah. And so it's something to look at. I actually I give a lot of shit to the pro team just because it's weird watching games without people at them. Personally, it's the same thing for wrestling for me. Like I'm a huge wrestling fan, and in the beginning of the pandemic, they were having all the wrestling shows at their performance center, and that was really weird because they didn't have any crowd sounds inserted in. Like people didn't know what to do. They were just trying to kind of come up with a way to keep the show rolling, because they wanted to keep generating funds week to week and stuff like that. And so if you're a diehard WWE fan or whatever, you were still watching it. I kind of took a look at it for the first couple of weeks because you just want to see how that's going to work. And it was interesting because you had people, you could actually hear them grunting and stuff like that, and making like you can hear all that because there's nobody there, and the mics, when they were on, and this was before they had implemented the idea of creating the Thunderdome and putting all these screens in there and all that shit. So basically, it's the same thing for the tournament. The tournament has a few people at the games now. Now that the numbers have kind of come down a little bit, things have gotten better. I can just cut to the chase on it because it's a lot of teams to go through. Who do you guys your pick?
As far as Final Four pick or just national?
Okay, yeah, let's do the Final Four. I'll do my Final. You do your Final Four, and I'll do my Final Four.
All right. I'm gonna be, this season I've been kind of checked out of basketball, or just I blame it on football. For everyone that knows me personally knows that I'm a big, huge Florida Gator fan. If you don't know, now you know. So as you know, their football season ended terribly. And their basketball season is not faring any better. So I be taking that shit home with me. Like, I'm on the damn team. I'm on the staff. I'm the one that I be thinking. I used to have that. I used to take those losses hard, man. I'm done with Florida for right now. So.
On live right now, Chuck said Florida takes it. Chuck, readers.
Oh man,
He said Florida. He said Florida takes it.
Florida, man.
He put it in all caps.
Hey, Chuck. As much as I would love for that to happen, bro, we may not even make it past the first round, bro. I'm not.
Oh no.
My expectations for Florida is just is at the bottom right now, man. I mean, we have a talented team. We just don't have the staff that's putting it all together. So I don't know, man. I keep
said, don't say Bama. He said, don't say Bama, Jay. Don't say
Bama.
Bama.
Hell no. I mean, I don't even want to get started on Alabama. Alabama and their fans have just discovered they had a basketball team a few weeks ago. So I don't want to hear nothing about Bama. Like, even the success they having right now, I wouldn't even get used to it because this just I want to have a one-off season. Like I said, they just discovered that they had a basketball team a few weeks ago. I don't want to hear nothing about Bama. Next.
Respect.
Who
would you say your Final Four was?
So I have, again, going back to what I was saying, I'm not really, because this has been a weird year for college.
Oh, yeah, I've been out too, bro. I just guessed.
Yeah, so I really don't even know who's good like that. I've seen teams from afar, but when you're in March Maddness, man, you just gotta be good for that one day. So it's kind of that's why that to me the best postseason of sports, because anybody has a chance with March Maddness. But with that being said, I'm going to roll with. Hold on, I have to look at because I made two brackets. I made the bracket that we're both in, the league that we're in, and I made a personal bracket. But I want to say my Final Four is Gonzaga,
okay,
Michigan,
yeah, that's a good.
Illinois,
okay,
and I have a fourth one that's not many people's talking about, Oklahoma State.
Okay, yeah, they got a dude. What's the dude? Light skinned cat with the hair.
Cade Cunningham. I think he's probably gonna be the number one pick.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. So yeah, you don't want to hear mine. My shit crashed compared to what you said. I didn't do it. I didn't do this on purpose. But here we go. So my Final Four. Yeah, I had Gonzaga. Even though I didn't really believe they were going to make it that far, they're number one. I didn't pick them because they were number one. I picked them because I watched them play for about 4 games out of the season. I would see them playing and I would just go watch and let's see what you do, But they probably not going to make it that far. I think they'll probably get taken out in either the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8. I think that's where they'll lose they'll run out of gas. But I'm going to make another bracket in a bit. I have 2 in men's and I have 2 in women's. So I'm going to make another one.
Hell, I didn't even do a women's one. I need to do it.
Yeah. Better do it tonight because they start tomorrow.
Yeah, I better do it. I better do it. The women's one is going to be ugly. I damn sure don't know.
I ain't either. I just did it for fun.
Hey, let's do it. Let's see how we turn out. But
and then if you win, you could win money, but it's like you got to put your email in the sweepstakes, and you know how that goes. Like,
yeah.
You get on spam calls like, did you know that your car insurance is extended? You can. I'll be like, yeah, I didn't know. But my four is Gonzaga, Ohio State, Houston, and Alabama. That's it's a weird ass Final Four, but I figured I was thinking like for me, for shock. He said, Chuck said UConn all day for the women. Makes sense. But I feel like they're gonna get picked this year. I think Maryland's gonna take it.
Well, as far as the women,
yeah, they look good, bro.
I don't know, man. Like UConn, UConn is always gonna be there. UConn is a staple for women's basketball, so you can't go wrong with picking UConn. But I haven't really heard much buzz about UConn this year as far as women go. I would probably, if I had if I had to pick a champion today, I would probably choose South Carolina women.
Thank you, Chuck.
Yeah.
South Carolina. Oh, damn. Now, see,
Yeah.
I didn't print that one off. The only reason why I feel so confident looking at it, I actually printed it off like a nerd. But it's all good. Yeah, you know, not like printing shit off. But then on the other side of that, thank you. He said there's a solid 4. And see, but it's weird though, because now looking at it on paper, it don't make sense. When you do shit like electronically, it's like, oh yeah, this makes plenty of sense. Like you tap it. But then when you like look at it on paper, you like, this don't make no sense. This ain't the same thing that I thought it was 2 hours ago.
Are you talking about your men's side or the women's side?
Talking about the men's side at the moment, because I didn't print off the women's. I have to pull them up on my phone.
Well, that's the beauty of it, man. It, you know, like I'm with you with the Gonzaga thing too, because even though I do have them in my Final Four, my mind, my heart and my mind is telling me that that they're probably not going to make it there because they, you know. But I felt compelled to put them there because they are a good team. When you watch them, like you said, when you watch them, they are cohesive. They're a textbook basketball team. That's what you would literally call a textbook team. They do everything right. But for some reason, when they get in these tournaments, they never can seem to get over the hump. Like Gonzaga has always been Gonzaga. I want to say the last 3 to 4 years, Gonzaga has been a number 1 seed. I mean, somebody could check me on that, but they've been the number 1 seed, and they've been the number 1 overall seed too at that. So, but I believe what gets Gonzaga is they play in such a very weak conference. I mean, weak conference, like teams that you have never really heard of, or teams that you didn't even know they even had a basketball team.
And see, and that's me. That's me. Because I don't watch them enough, and then I guess because they are a Western team, correct?
Yeah, and on top of that,
hell, I didn't even know where they was at. So shit.
Yeah, they're Gonzaga's in Washington. If you didn't know, yeah, Gonzaga.
Oh, Washington State.
Yeah, Washington State. So
I didn't know that. I didn't know they were there. I thought they were like somewhere between Utah and like, you know, like down lower, not that far up in the west.
No, they're in the city called Spokane, Washington. It's I don't know much about it. I just know that because I've always, you know, me being a sports junkie, I've always like, where the hell is Gonzaga? Like, it can't be nowhere close. And
right,
it's in Washington. So, but yeah, they're in a conference, man. They just don't play anybody. I think their conference is literally called the West Coast Conference, and it literally has no. I think the toughest team that they play all year is BYU. You know, BYU usually has a decent, formidable team. But at the same time, they're not a blue blood. They're not a team that you're gonna, you know, like all the other conferences have to go through and deal with. Like, you know, except for this year in the SEC, everybody, you know, eventually always, you know, you got to go through Kentucky. You know, Kentucky was ass this year, but you know,
they got put out because of Corona, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
they have to go through that, and then the ACC you got to deal with Duke and North Carolina, and then in the Big 12 you got to deal with Kansas. So you know those are your traditional blue blood teams. Gonzaga don't play any of those. They might play them in the non-conference in the beginning of the year, but non-conference games hardly ever equate to what a team is going to look like at the end of the season. So that's where you really want to know. That's when you really learn about the team. That's how you picking them in March, is watching them at the end of the season opposed to, you know, the beginning. So I think that's what hits Gonzaga is they get to a team that is physical, that they haven't really seen all year, and then they don't know how to handle that. Like right now, they're 26-0, but
yeah, it looks like they're going to intercept.
Yeah, you know. So, but who have they played? You know, and
they ain't playing nobody. They probably play A&M.
Yeah, I mean, and again, they're a good team, but it's just some reason March and the tournament it's never kind to them. It's never. I mean, you can go back to the Adam Morrison days. I don't know if you remember that guy. He was there when JJ Redick was at Duke, and he was kind of like the face of college basketball at one point. I think he went like number 3 in the draft.
Yeah.
He didn't amount to shit in the NBA, but he was.
That's usually how it goes. Because people that go to the NBA early, like they go kind of quick. They're like not ready.
Yeah.
And we'll just use. I want to use somebody Zion Williamson as an example. Like this guy was dope in high school. Like I watched him. He was just dunking all the time, and that's cool. But it's like your knees is gonna be tore up. By the time you get to the NBA, like next year type shit. And then on the other side of that, it's like if you can't really shoot or you don't have like a perimeter game or anything like that, you're gonna be like asked out when it comes down to like being able to actually hoop for 82 games a season. You can't dunk for 82 games a season. Like Vince Carter did it. Who else did it? J.R. Swish at one point, he did it. All these people were doing it, but then you have to develop your game more than that. And the sad part with him is he really didn't want to leave college because when he lost in the tournament, I think it was 2019, he told Coach K that he was coming back the next year because he wanted that feeling. Like he wanted to get that. He wanted to win a championship. And I respected that. And a lot of people had jumped all over my shit about it because they were like, he's going to miss out on his opportunity to go in the draft. And I'm just like, but the NBA is not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like glory is forever. You know what I'm saying? Like when you win that, you won that forever. Now winning the NBA championship is probably kind of sort of the same thing, but it's different because it's more business oriented. It's almost like your company is celebrating being in the black for that year because you won the whole situation. But like with college is different because school. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to be getting paid, but we already know what's going on. So you're not getting paid. You have the campus glory and all that kind of stuff. It's vibes, and their vibes that are unmatched that you can't that the NBA really can't touch the same way that it would because you running basically. In college you hooping with your boys.
Yep.
In the NBA you hooping with married men and single guys and just random people, folks that you didn't expect to meet and all that kind of stuff. And it's like I think that people need to start really paying attention to what they want to do as an individual, regardless of what the world is telling them and what draft number and all that kind of stuff. I know it's hard though when you broke and you want to be able to take care of people and stuff like that. That's one thing, but you can't also live your life planning to take care of people as well.
Yeah. That's facts, man.
That's a personal situation, my bad, but yeah.
Nah, man, it's facts. Yeah. I remember that he did not want to go pro. He almost did not go pro.
I was happy for him when he wasn't.
Yeah. Because the thing with Zion with me, I don't hate the kid at all. I think he can be great. I just was never really, I wasn't sold on him. And I know people are going to come for me that's watching this live or when they go back and actually listen to the episode once it records. Yeah, I'll put my name on there. Yeah, I said it. I just wasn't really all sold on Zion. I wasn't giving him the crown that he was anointed by most people because I just don't trust highlight tapes that school of dunks. I just don't. If you recall when his highlight tape was blowing up before he even signed with Duke, I don't remember you if you remember me saying this. I'm like, the kid is great. He can jump out of this world. He can do all the dunks and stuff. What else can he do? Can he dribble? Can he pass? Can he shoot? What's his basketball IQ like? You don't. Athleticism, that plays a huge part in basketball, but you do have to have the IQ with it. That's what makes LeBron so great because not only he has the physical tools, he has the IQ that goes with basketball, which is huge. So I just wasn't really sold on him. And, granted, he was at Duke. Yeah, Duke is always going to be better.
Yeah, I think it would have meant more if he would have been somewhere like I don't know. If you want to talk, if we talking big schools that are like underrated, maybe somewhere like an NC State or something like that.
Yeah.
Or somewhere like Not a Kentucky, not a Duke, not a North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I can't think of nothing off the top. Like maybe like a Texas or something like that.
Yeah, like my man, like my guy that we were just talking about, Cade Cunningham, at Oklahoma State. Who the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. I'm pulling for him.
You know,
I don't even know the dude. I'm just like, yeah, he should win it because he's not on TV a lot, so he should just win it.
He should just, because granted, he's probably a lock to be the number one pick. I mean, Oklahoma State, them more so for football, but definitely damn sure not basketball.
I'm gonna tell you who should have been. I'm gonna tell you who should have been in the NCAA in the March Maddness.
Who?
Mississippi Valley State, the Delta Devils. That's right.
It's
Aaron Rice himself.
Who is representing the SWAC though? I have to go back and look at the bracket because I don't know who's representing the SWAC.
I don't think they good for real. But I don't know. I think it's probably gonna be Texas Southern this year.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be Texas Southern.
Because I really, I still see that. I still have A&M as a team that I see on my ESPN scoreboard. So I would periodically look at their score of their games and stuff just to see how they're doing. But other than that, I didn't really know as far as like who was the SWAC representative because I know A&M is not.
Somebody said Chuck said they would have got beat by 75.
Who A&M did? Yeah.
Probably so. And then
because they likely would have been playing a 1 seed, and it probably would have been Gonzaga.
Oh yeah, and then they said Gonzaga played DeVry. Chuck said Gonzaga played DeVry and ITT Tech.
Exactly. They don't play anymore.
And then Brinker said, or the sit down, she said, at least play ICDC. And they own it, bro. They flame it. Wow, y'all really okay?
See, yeah, man.
This is rough. This is now I gotta go make another bracket. I feel real weird.
I mean, it's like, but I still felt compelled to put them in my Final Four though, and I don't know why. I guess it's just because I just don't know how other teams are going to perform.
Exactly. That's the only reason why I felt like by default, I was like, okay, I'm going to just put them in the Final Four because I haven't really been watching ball that much this year. I haven't really been in it. I kind of been out of it because like with the, there's just more things. There are more things that are important as far as like the world and stuff like that that's going on in basketball right now.
Right.
Like people getting better, people getting healthy. It's just more things that are important than basketball, football, baseball. But I understand. I love most sports. I'm not a huge baseball fan. Sorry, Chuck. But you know what I'm saying? I know he does a lot of umpiring and stuff like that, and he played in high school as well, so I respect it. I played in middle school and before when it before. But I kind of fell out of love with it because I don't know, for some reason I just did. Now, when it gets into playoff baseball and it starts getting with more stuff on the line, it gets real interesting for me. As I've gotten older, I'm just like, yeah, okay, this is interesting. Like you can tell the level of intensity and stuff like that. Like it's intense. But when it's just like a regular season game, I can't really get into it.
You want to know a sport that's low key entertaining? Hockey, bro. Hockey. I don't know if it's because now that I live in Nashville, I've been kind of following hockey every now and then. Granted, for all the hockey fans out there, don't ask me.
Hockey's good.
I don't know.
Have y'all been to a Predators game?
No, but from we were talking about going to one, obviously before COVID took off, but
okay.
We never got around to doing it. But from what I hear, it's one of the funnest things. It's one of the funnest events that you can never do is go to a Predators game, especially when they're good. Like the year that they went to the Stanley Cup a few years ago, like they said like it was nothing like any other. The environment. It's the environment more so than the game itself. But even when you're watching it, like when they're like you said, when you're watching the playoffs and stuff, it's actually entertaining because These motherfuckers be out there fighting and shit, like, and the ref just be watching, like, you know, you're seeing top tier athletes and, you know, at the top of their game, you know, out there dueling with, you know, as gladiators. And I have a lot of respect, you know, for hockey players because I can't ice skate. So imagine, you know, ice skating and trying to play a sport with a puck that's, you know, that you may or may not touch the entire game, and you're literally going back and forth towards, you know, it's strategic. It's, you know, it's not the easiest thing to do. So I watch it every now and then. I'm not gonna lie and say I'm a hockey enthusiast because I'm not, but I do find the sport low key entertaining at times.
No, I think it's dope. That you've grown into something that's different. You know, it has nothing to do with anything. I just want everybody on the live to check out my brother right now for a swag check because he's like really fly on the show for no reason tonight. Dude got the glasses with the fade, you know what I'm saying? $1 million jacket. That's all I had to say. All right. So, you know, hockey is it's, you know, hockey is real interesting. I'm glad that you found this for yourself. I kind of got into golf, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Because it's like, it's tranquil and it's just something that you do. Have you ever been to Topgolf?
Yeah, sadly I have, bro.
Dang, what happened to you? Fell off the thing or something? Like, you sound real sad.
Nah, bro, I didn't fall. It was for a job that I used to work at, and they took us, the management team took us out for a gathering as a team building exercise, which it was dope and all of that shit, but that's just not my thing, bro. I couldn't hit that damn ball worth a damn. I've just never been great at golf, bro. I could never drive. Going back to when we used to play the shit at PE back in high school, I could never.
I didn't even realize y'all played. I didn't even know we had golf in high school.
Well, we
had a team.
These little golf clubs, you know, these little rubber golf clubs.
Putt or something.
Yeah, like, you know, kind of like a putt, but we would have she would have us doing like these driving exercises and stuff, and she would get on to me, you know, and by she I mean by our PE teacher at that time. She would get on to me because she thought I was being, you know, funny, you know, because I couldn't hit it. My swing, none of that. I could get none of that down, and even still to this day, I still can't swing or nothing. Now I can putt with you. I could go mini golf, but top golf, yeah, you don't want to be on my team because we're likely going to lose. And but you know, the idea of it is dope, but it's not my thing.
Chuck is on here flaming people, bro. This dude said. He said it's okay. Tiger Woods can't drive either. # too soon.
Shout out to Tiger though. Yeah, my man, he might need to start getting a driver for, you know, from here on out because him and cars just
shout out to my man Tiger Woods though.
Yeah. I mean, I know the incident with his wife a few years ago. I think he had an incident with driving, you know?
Yeah, that wasn't a good look. Have you seen the documentary?
No, but it's
really
on my watch list because I know it's on HBO Max, and I'm a big fan of HBO documentaries. I think they're well done because they don't hold back. ESPN like documentaries are cool, but I feel like it's kind of like tamed to an extent. Like they're afraid to go into the deep psychology of people. HBO documentaries are elite. They're well done. Like, you know, you get top to bottom. And I know he had like a 2-part series.
2-part. I thought it was gonna be like more than that. I thought, so sit down said you gotta drink some mimosas before you go golf, Jay. That's what's wrong.
Oh, all right. Well, how about this? We'll try it again one day. You know, maybe the 4 of us will go, and we'll see what it's talking about. I'll give
date. Consider it done.
Bet.
Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna give you my 4. And I know we're getting close to time. We need to get up out of here. I already know. But so I guess y'all watch the show again without it being a sneak preview. I don't know how to do sneak previews. So enjoy this raw version of the show, but go watch the real one. Like, don't not go watch it.
Yeah, because this is not the finished product. So yeah, definitely my man's put some work into editing, you know. So all the shows that you've watched, completed shows that you watched came from my man's right here editing and, you know, precise and all of that shit. So, you know, definitely check us out.
Don't tell them that. Tell them we got an editing department. Okay, yeah, it was me. Yeah, it was me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was him. It was him.
So my 4 is for the men is Gonzaga, Ohio State, Alabama, and Houston. I did pick Alabama to win. The only reason I picked Alabama to win is because the Petty dude that came from, his last name is Petty, he came from Jemison. I met him like once or twice, but he don't really remember me. But I was like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Cool dude. I literally only picked him because of him. I was like, he's a cool dude. That's all I got. I know nothing about the team. I know that they live and die by the 3-pointer. And they're interesting to watch because of that. They're kind of like the SEC's version of the Warriors. So that's all I got. As far as the women, because I'm going to get yours after, and I'm going to get out of here. The women, I had Arkansas, Texas, UConn, and Texas A&M for the women.
Okay.
Arkansas's girls are fire. They own.
I heard
that's my
squad. I heard it's a girl.
They do got a squad. And my other bracket, I have Maryland winning it all. So it's either Maryland. This bracket, I actually have Arkansas upsetting UConn in the championship game.
Okay.
So, and then the other one, I think I have Maryland beating UConn. So it's number 1 and number 2, and the other one, this one is number 1 and number 4. But who did you?
I haven't. To be honest, I haven't even looked at the women's bracket. I'm gonna probably do that as soon as we end tonight's show. Because this is actually my first year actually doing a women's bracket. So I'm pretty intrigued and excited about it. But I could probably already tell you I'm gonna have probably South Carolina as the champion. I just like they swag. They've been.
Yeah, I like them too. It's hard. Because there's so many good women's teams. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to choose. And it's cool though, because if you're a true basketball fan, you fool with both sides. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to, with me, at one point I used to give it a hard time, but that was because you know how we grew up going to games in person, and everybody always wanted to come out for the varsity boys game. That's just what it was, and that's the way it was built up. But as we got older, we kind of but it was different. At Madison County, our girls were always really good. And so
our girls carried us.
They were stellar. Yeah, they were like top. I don't understand you remember the coach? I don't remember how he was good at coaching them because he just didn't seem like a very bright person. But
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
I don't remember. I just thought that the girls were good on their own. I didn't really think he was coaching them for what it was worth. But that's shade, and I did it on purpose.
Yeah, fuck
who you got winning everything on both sides?
I would say probably I forgot who I chose. I want to say I chose Michigan. I chose Michigan as my winner of the boys' side, but don't sleep on Baylor though, because Baylor is actually a really good team. They might actually win it all. I think Baylor only lost like literally 1 or 2 games. Granted, I know Gonzaga is undefeated and whatnot, but they don't play nobody. Like Chuck said, they play ITT Technical Institute and shit. They play. They don't play real teams.
They play you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Baylor actually is built for the tournament because the Big 12 was really good this year in basketball. I know that because the SEC and the Big 12 do a SEC Big 12 challenge mid-season, and you know, an SEC team is matched up against a Big 12 team. So that's how I kind of know how good they are. But yeah, I would say I have Michigan, and I can't remember who I have them against. going in the championship. Guys, I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared for that.
Okay.
I literally did my bracket today at work because I thought games were actually starting today, but they actually start tomorrow. So I wanted to make sure I got it in before they locked it up to where you couldn't do it, you know. So, but I do know I have Michigan as my champion off one of my brackets, and I think more than likely, I'm gonna probably lean towards South Carolina as far as the women go.
All right. I'm gonna do me another one. I'm gonna have like 3 brackets for the women, but it's gonna be lit because I'm actually gonna have something to refer to. That's what I would tell. One thing I will say about coronavirus or not. One thing that has made this NCAA bracket worth it this year is the fact that we can actually look at our brackets in electronic format. Like we can look at it and we get live updates, and it's telling us, it's just fun. It's something fun for you to do, something safe for you to do from the crib. And then it's better than the NBA because these boys really want it. So
yeah. And it's anybody's game for the taking. Like, that's why I love March Madness. Mm-hmm. Even when my team is terrible, which, I wouldn't say they're terrible this year, but they're as Chuck, he's a fan of, we're a fan of the same team.
That's dope.
They're not up to par because Florida basketball has a pretty good tradition. They're not a traditional blue blood, but they are a good team. Usually when it comes to basketball. So, but either way, March Madness is always fun because you just never know. Like that's the beauty of it. There's always going to be a Cinderella. There's always going to be an upset. On the men's side, there's the blue bloods. But on the women's side, it's even more intriguing because they really don't have traditional blue bloods on the women's side except for UConn. I mean, you can make a statement for South Carolina, maybe even Baylor women's basketball, but they're not like, it's not like the same blue bloods like in, on the men's side, you got the Dukes and all of that, Duke's women's team is decent, but they're not really
they're not up there where the guys are.
Exactly. They're not on the same caliber. Same with North Carolina. They're not on the same caliber.
Think that they were because in they're relative, basically like their big brother is, the guys. And so that's not usually the case. I mean, you got to have a program, you got to have reason. Your players got to know their why. You got to be mentally bought in, and then your players have to buy into your system mentally as well. And so, like, if they do, then you don't have a whole lot to worry about. I mean, you might lose a game or two, which is normal, but that's only because people coming for your head because they just don't want you to go undefeated. But that's what I think Gonzaga actually is still undefeated on the year. So that's dangerous to be going to have made it this far and you're undefeated. And so like even like an Alabama A&M or a Mississippi Valley State or a ICDC college, like anybody would want to beat you. And that's what Chuck just said, that single game elimination brings the dog out of players. And that's real. Like that's real.
You only got to be good that one night.
And you could have been slaw all year long and you just had a good night. And now you know what I'm saying? Like, you remember that year George Mason beat, was it UConn?
Yep.
Yeah, they beat them and went to weren't they in the Final Four, but then they lost?
Yep. They lost to us truly, the Florida game.
Now, we all knew they wasn't going to get past Florida, but it was like,
That was the Joakim Noah years. I remember those years very fondly. But yeah, that you have teams like that, and it only takes that one game to be better than, because at the end of the day, they all are kids. At the end of the day, granted, some are better than others, but at the end of the day, they're still human. They're still kids. They're not professionals, not yet. So, it only takes one game, and then like you said, a team going into the tournament undefeated, you can look at it like, oh, that's great, but it can, like you said, it can also be dangerous because they don't know, they haven't faced adversity yet.
Yeah, they haven't. They don't know what it's like to lose.
They don't know.
And then that's a lot of pressure for 18, 19, 20-year-old guys on television being watched by, literally on television being watched by everyone now because everybody's at home except for those that can make it out to the game and wanted to put their lives on the line.
Exactly.
But,
Exactly. And as far as in Gonzaga's case, a lot of the times when they're playing, people on our coast is sleep. They're playing games at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So a lot of people on the East Coast haven't really seen Gonzaga play. They see their record, they see their score of their games, but they actually haven't watched them play. So
that's right.
Now they're going to be prime time. They usually playing. They're usually playing in the wee hours of the night. So now they're going to be front and center. So like you said, that's a lot of pressure. Right. And then what was the last undefeated team in college? What the Indiana team back in the 70s? I think was the last.
I think they went the whole way.
Yeah,
I think the league was different then. So I mean, different kind of ball. They were playing fundamental.
Exactly.
If it was the 70s, I don't think they had a 3-point line. I don't think the 3-point line came into play until 1982, something like that.
I think you might be right.
81, 82, somewhere in there. So, and then even when they had implemented it, they weren't using it. So,
exactly.
They didn't start, because it wasn't necessary. People thought it was a joke. They thought they weren't going to use it for real. And then now that's pretty much become the way that the game is played. Well, I got one question. We found out who your pick for the women's is South Carolina.
Yeah.
My pick for the women's is Arkansas. My pick for the men's, as it stands now, is Alabama. It's crazy. I got reasons why. Check it out back in the rest of the episode. Yours for the men's was
my Final Four, my championship pick.
Your championship. Your champion. Michigan. Okay, cool. All right. And so I guess we'll use that as a segue. We're gonna downshift up out of here, y'all. We had one question to carry us out that someone had asked in the comments, and they said, as Black men, how do you guys practice self-care, or how do you define it? You want to go first, Jay, or you want me to go?
Go ahead and take that, bro.
All right. So for me, how I practice self-care is basically doing what I'm doing now. I link up with my bro, and we just chat. If I don't get to do this, I usually do yoga, or I box, or I exercise, or sometimes I just it's several things. Like I do like a phone, I like to call it a garbage time or whatever, like where I just don't be on the phone at all, and I kind of just leave it in another room, and I'm completely disconnected. And so I don't know why I call it garbage time, but I just be chilling, doing whatever, and it's just time that I not necessarily throw away, but I double up on maybe actually reading a book or something like that, like actually feeling the pages in my hand, or spending time with family that's like close by and stuff like that. And so that's one way. Those are the multiple ways that I usually practice self-care as a Black man.
Yeah, I would say probably more the same with me. I definitely like to read, whether it's like random like articles or just random like just things. I like to classify myself as a historian on certain things. I like to read stuff that happened back in such time, just to kind of compare it to the times that we are in now, which is crazy because it really is true that history often repeats itself. But I like to do that, and I like to meditate more so. That's usually on my commute to work because where I live, the commute can be lengthy at times due to traffic. So that's usually the only time that I have to myself, where my kids aren't around and I'm not around people. It's just me, myself in the car, and I usually have a podcast going on in the background, and I vibe that way. And that's usually what I do. I mean, I'm very simple. Sports used to be my getaway, but I'm kind of if it's on, yeah, I catch it, but it's not a necessity for me anymore. So I just more so just like to read and what's going on and what's in the world and how to be better as a father, husband, and all of that stuff. And I listen to podcasts that kind of like bring some of those elements and things like that. So that's what I would probably say I would do for self-care as a Black man. So
Fair enough for me, man.
it's an awesome question.
Yeah, it was a loaded question. I feel like I had to think about it for a while before I could
I
answer.
did too. I was like, I don't think I've ever been asked that before.
Garbage time, chill time. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I do the yoga. I do meditate myself as well. I forgot to add that one in. It's multiple things that I do. You know, and it's just a lot of different ways you can do it. I think that you realize that you're doing it the most when you feel that feeling of, I'll just make the utterance. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get I would say that's when you know you're doing it the most, or it's something that you don't have to have like a glass of alcohol or anything like that. You don't have to have anything extra for you to feel it. You can just do it as is, straight up. You know, no, as a young one say, no cappery. I be saying no cappery. They say no cap. I'll be like, no cappery. They be like, you old. I'm like, yes, I am. Yes, I am.
It's almost like saying swagger instead of swag.
Oh yeah, put that on a shirt. You remember? You remember Auntie Bonita? So you remember like JJ, right? His her son on Facebook. His name was Wilbert Swagging Ben. I ain't gonna never forget that. It has nothing to do with anything on the show, but it was funny, and I think that that's something that should be said. Wilbert Swagging Ben. I'm swagging in this thing, and my name Ben.
With that being said, we're going to go ahead and close this out, man. You may have heard us talk about in all our past episodes about us doing a movie review. We actually have done a movie review episode, and it's currently unreleased, and that's simply because it was too long. It was
about 4 hours.
Yeah, we were reviewing a movie that was 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours, and we did a review for that for like 4 hours. So yeah, but we literally reviewed that movie from top to bottom. It's personally one of our favorite movies mutually that we love together. So it just made sense to review that movie. But yeah, we're gonna bring that back. But now we're gonna have a more of a kind of like a better way to make sure we're not doing it for 3+ hours or even 2 at that point. We even want to welcome suggestions from you all. So if there's a movie that you guys love or hate and you just want to hear us rip it to shreds, we can do that too.
Just make sure you guys, like, when the ones that you want us to review, send them to our DM on Instagram or send them to our DM on Facebook.
With the year being 2021, we thought it'd be an awesome idea that we go back and review movies that came out in 1991 as a 30-year anniversary. And for our film buffs out there, if you're a true film buff, you would kind of remember what movies came out in 1991, even if you weren't even born that year. I mean, granted, I was only 3 years old, so I can't lie and say I watched those movies when they first came out. I'd be lying to you. But when a movie is good and it's a classic, you're going to watch that and you're going to enjoy it, So, yeah, so we're going to go back and watch some of the classics. You will be surprised at what came out in 1991, And if you're not really a film buff person, that's okay. Just Google and look at movies that was in 1991, and you'll probably find a classic or two that came out. I'm probably can guarantee that. And if you have a suggestion, hit us up. It's going to be a rating system, and we may not necessarily always agree together of the same thing. But just know that, I may rate it a certain way, he may rate it a particular way, or we may mutually rate it the same. We're going to both approach these reviews honestly and honestly, and being truthful to it. We're not gonna always look to agree with each other on those movies, because there are movies that I like and that he doesn't like, or vice versa. So, but yeah, we're gonna have a rating system, and we'll break it down towards the end of that review and whatnot. So yeah, it's some fun stuff that's coming down the line, and we look to get that started here pretty soon. So be on the lookout, and yeah, fuck with us.
Yeah, man. So we got it. I mean, that's pretty much it, y'all. We're gonna say bye to IG. Y'all pretty much done watch the whole show. Go watch the other one.
Keep that same energy for the other one.
If you don't watch it, just like turn it on and just let it play in the car or something, or put it on in another room, and you ain't gotta be in there with it. Just like give us the view. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to expand, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Or you could just be a deer and just watch it again. You know what I'm saying? This is the raw version. We just wanted to let y'all know we out here working and stuff. Like, we trying.
Exactly. We also appreciate you guys that's on the line. Keep supporting us on there too. If you have suggestions of topics that you would like for us to discuss on any given episode, just let us know as well. Just like how you would with the movie reviews. We'll approach it honestly and directly, as much as possible. Check us out though. Again, we just dropped the Barry episode, the Barry Williams episode just dropped.
Shout out to him for coming on the show. And, I appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. Those that tuned in on live, thank you for tuning in. Any medium that you're comfortable in getting in contact with us, or if you have a business and you want to promote it or stuff like that, come on the podcast, let's chat about it, so that way people can get to know you better, get to know your business, and learn why they should shop with you to begin with. I've been your host, T.
And this is Jay.
Don't forget, man, when life gives you lemons, man, make lemon water.
So, we out here.
Peace.
Peace.
When life gives you lemons, make lemon water.